Welcome to D2C Talks, an initiative by Contlo where we'll be hosting industry leaders across a series of interactive webinars and podcasts. So we'll pick their brains on some of the common problems faced by decision makers, some of the best practices in the industry, and our experts will also reveal some of the strategies to unlock the door to D2C success. I am Akshat, your host today, and an e-commerce marketer working to boost the top line revenue of various D2C brands. Each of these sessions, as I mentioned, will have polls and surveys. There'll also be, as I said, Chandni will answer a few questions at the end. So do join us, anyone again on LinkedIn Live or YouTube. Please do join us on AirMeet to make the most of these sessions.
Yeah.
For those joining us again now, welcome to D2C Talks. So we will request your participation in the polls and surveys, and attendees can also post their questions at the chat box as you are posting the comments. You can post the questions. We will take them up in the end of this session in the Q&A section. So welcome Chandni. Chandni, as I mentioned before, is the Vice President of Product and Operations at Contlo, and she was earlier running the top retention marketing agency for D2C brands from all over the world. And
Yeah.
to me, this is a great moment because Chandni is always someone whom I've gone to solve my problems around marketing automations. And whenever I can't figure out a new automation for my clients, Chandni is always there to help me with figuring them out using her well-proven strategies. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for taking the time to joining us today, Chandni.
Thank you so much, Akshat. It's actually a great moment today, as we start a series of D2C talks. I look forward to many more such sessions, not just of sharing, but also learning from the players and just figuring out the whole D2C ecosystem in the coming days. And thank you everyone for joining. I hope we are able to give you some good insights into D2C, into e-commerce. We will try to make it as informative and as crisp as possible. And as Akshat mentioned, like we would love to have you on AirMeet. If you are from LinkedIn, just come on AirMeet so that you can participate in our polls, give us your insights, ask us your questions. So let's get started, Akshat.
Sure, Chandni.
Yeah.
So something very basic to start with, Chani, as I know you have worked with
Mhm.
e-commerce brands of all shapes and sizes, big
Yeah.
stores, small stores. So something very basic, what is marketing automation? And so for some of the common practitioners, some of the attendees here, it is a common practice. But just to get started, could you take a couple of minutes to describe?
Okay, that's a very good point to start from. Actually, currently a D2C brand can be marketed in two ways. Okay, one is the paid media, Facebook ads, Google ads. I like to call them the steroids. You keep pumping the steroids in the body keeps functioning. You keep getting your revenues. Sometimes your ROI goes up, sometimes it goes down. The other is the non-paid media. Now, non-paid media could be anything: emails, SMSs, WhatsApp. All the channels that you just don't use it for selling a product, but also as a channel of communication to the customers. It's
Very
like you are helping that using that communication to touch base with your customers for selling and for otherwise, but holding their hand throughout their journey with your brand. And marketing automation is nothing but just automating these messages on these channels. And in fact, I feel like it's, imagine a shop. There's always a salesman in a shop. Okay, marketing automation is like a salesman. The salesman gauges you, he understands your preferences, shows you two or three articles, helps you in the process, and then suggests you something that you probably would end up buying. Like, for me myself, I'd probably just end up buying what the salesman is saying is right. So that's what marketing automation is right now in 2022. It's a very intelligent, super smart salesman. That's what it is.
brilliant analogy, Chandni. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yes.
this is very true actually, because that is how we should view it as a digital salesman who is selling our at various stages of a customer's journey is able to pinpoint whatever the customer might be interested in.
Yeah.
Comparing again, you mentioned one of the other channels being paid media, where paid media, what I have also noticed and what a lot of decision makers also notice is you alter something and you are able to see the results immediately. So that's a very interesting way. How do you compare that in a similar way? How do you manage the marketing automations?
Okay, so basically, what happens is, see, marketing metrics has put a very crisp number to it. The probability of selling to an existing customer at any kind of time is 60 to 70%. The probability of selling to a new prospect is just 5 to 20%. 20% being a very positive number. Okay, retaining your customers is very much better value for money. It's cheaper and it is better for you in the longer run. It's better for your brand. The LTVs increase. They become your loyalists. They might in fact even become they are just like very loyal to your brand, and they might not even churn out. The customers that you get from paid marketing the first 10 months might churn out very soon, right?
True.
In fact, I somehow think that retention marketing and paid marketing, they're not two different sides. They should work complementary. Because sometimes I feel that your ROIs on the paid ads also increase if you're very focused on your retention marketing. Suppose you get a new prospect from a paid ad. Okay, and if you have your basic automations like your welcome flow, your cart abandons, everything going live, you are able to tap that customer even better. Suppose you have a customer coming from paid marketing and you've had a form live, you were able to make a addressable contact out of the customer, right? And once that customer is addressable, you establish a channel of communication. Your ROIs are definitely going to shoot up because the conversion increases. The ROI is definitely going to shoot up. So it's like they have to work hand in hand. There is no D2C business generally runs without paid marketing, and retention marketing is also equally important. Secondly, think of it in seasonality. Okay, there are brands which the products are seasonal. They might not work in some seasons. Customers might not want to purchase them in certain seasons. But what happens? Suppose you have these marketing automation flows live. So even if in off seasons someone's birthday is coming, and you already have that email that is going for a birthday, someone's purchase anniversary is coming, so you are just telling them, hey, it's your anniversary of your purchase, why don't you buy again? So these are the things that keep it's a more sustainable way of marketing your business. Keeps on going in the background, helps keeps your ship afloat at all times. So I think, yeah, they have to be going hand in hand, and they complement each other perfectly fine. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Very nicely put, Chandni. And I think if you have one
Mhm.
takeaway from the session today, should be that marketing automations also improve your ROI of the paid ads. That
Yeah.
actually is very well put and is very important. That's the reason why marketing automations are that important for an e-commerce brand today.
Yeah.
So we'll take up our first poll, if that's all right, Chandni.
Yeah, yeah, please
But
go
I would
ahead.
like to have your response as well in this, but I think you have already answered that question. So the
Yeah.
first question for our attendees is, what do you think gives you a better ROI? You can choose one of these options: paid ads, retention marketing, organic search, and social media. I think, Chandni, you can expand a little bit more on this. But we know your answer for this.
Yeah, but I'll still vote.
True. So yeah, and I completely agree with that. That retention marketing is going to improve the ROI of other channels as well. Your social media is going to improve based on the kind of retention marketing strategies that you have in place. You often
Yeah.
have your social media posts at the bottom of emails in the marketing automation, and that generates enough uh, engagement for your social media posts as well. True.
See, I think the end goal of everything is the same, right? Increasing your LTVs, increasing the loyalty of the customers. So everything has to go hand in hand. It is like, everything is part of the same whole game plan. So why not just assume that they are, complementary, and then go ahead?
True, very true, very
Yeah.
true. We'll wait for the results in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, there are a couple of more people who have joined us. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for joining us. Welcome to D2C Talks. I am Akshat, accompanied by Chandni, a retention marketing expert and retention marketing veteran of over 15 years. And you just missed a couple of points so far about what are the automation marketing automations in general. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, I'd like to remind anyone on LinkedIn Live or YouTube, please take the time to click on the link in the description. These sessions will matter the most if you make them interactive and participate in these polls and surveys as well.
Yeah.
Moving ahead, Chandni.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
the
that
poll results are in. Shall we
uh,
just
I
yeah.
was waiting for it. Wow,
Yeah.
you have swayed the crowd in your favor, Chandni.
I am hoping so. Yeah, I think I have made people loyalists for attention marketing now. Yeah.
Yep, yeah, you have swayed the crowd in your
Or
favor.
people already knew what the truth.
No, Chani, because what you were saying is actually making a lot of sense in this case, right? That when you talk about ROI, retention marketing is the channel that you can get the most out of. And yep, I'm glad that our attendees agree with that.
Yeah. True.
Chani, just to touch upon one of the important changes that we saw in our industry recently, with a few new privacy policies coming in from Apple as well. And do you think other industries would follow suit? But what changes, and more importantly, should someone like me now implement in our what changes would this bring about in our marketing automations specifically?
You have actually, pressed the right spot by asking this question. This is so relevant right now because, with Apple privacy policy changes, we are not sure if, Facebook is able to cookie our user. We are not sure if Facebook will tell us the user communication after 7 days, their behavior. So now, you know what? Now it has become so important to know first-hand data about your customers. You do not know if Facebook is cooking he or she. You do not know if Facebook would know what their interests are, what their likings are. So it becomes increasingly important for websites to know the first-hand data of their customers. It is not just about email IDs or phone numbers. It is also about their interests. Why are they here? What are they looking for? what is the immediate need? Are they responding to a discount? Are they responding to some other thing? And in that case, a welcome form or a pop-up comes into play. Anyone coming in, you should probably have a pop-up who you can convert your normal customer into an addressable contact. Another way of converting your customer into an addressable contact would be having a WhatsApp chatbot. So the
Right.
moment they put their phone number over there, even for a query, you make them an addressable contact. So that is become really important right now, right? Getting first-hand data about your customers.
For sure.
But you know what? I recently discovered, a skincare brand. Like people are now increasingly, very interested in giving their data to the brand, because they also feel that they might get good deals or good literature. Like recently for a skincare brand, I saw that they just ran a quiz, and people actually reverted telling them their skincare problems, what are their issues, what kind of skin do they have, what age are they in, and there is so much that can be done with this kind of data about your customers. Facebook can never have this kind of data, right?
True.
The skin problems or the skin type. But your website, you have all the access to your customers. Why not just drop them an email and ask them about their interests or their anything that you want? I did it for one of my brands. It was a footwear brand. What we did, what after a form was made live, we sent them an email with a link to a survey after the welcome email,
Right.
obviously, and we asked them, okay, why are you here? Are you here for a wedding purchase? Are you just looking around? Are you looking for casual shoes? And we were surprised that people actually go and tell us, because they also trust that the brand might curate content for me, the brand might reach out to me in a meaningful manner. So that's how the industry is shifting now after these Apple privacy changes.
Right.
The
Right.
other thing that is really important is, now that we know that retargeting ads might not work, we will have to set up our own channels of communication with the customers. Gone are the days when you can just rely on Facebook retargeting ads. Okay, you have to establish email, SMS, WhatsApp, all as medium of reaching out to your customers. Now this is not just about setting up an email ID. It is also about setting up with the customer that, okay, this is a reliable mode of communication with us. When you send them the first welcome WhatsApp message, you should be saying that, okay, save this number for future updates. When you send them an email, it should say move us to inbox in case we are in spam, because this is how we will be conversing, right?
Yep. Yep.
You have to respectfully establish every channel of communication, and because that is the only way you'll be probably conversing them in the coming times.
Right.
And I think gone are the days when you can just send vanilla broadcast campaigns on email or anything and expect breakthrough results. Like customers are also getting smart. Your normal broadcast might not even work in today's time. So yeah, like the whole retention marketing scene has changed after these Apple privacy policies.
Agreed, agreed.
Yeah.
And very good takeaway here would be that building your first-hand data has become even more important post the launch of these policies. And how do you do that? Is with having these some of the basic things in place, as you explained with the forms, getting the clicks on the first email so that you are able to cookie the customers. All of generating your own first-hand data would
Hmm.
become really important in the
Yeah.
coming years as well. Chandni, now, having spoken a little about your described marketing automation, some of the privacy policies changes that we have discussed. So, what are the automations that a marketer should set up for a smaller store? Some of the advanced ones, uh,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. So this is very important. Like I always say to whichever brand I work with, that does not matter the scale of a brand, does not matter the audience. There are some automations you should always have in place. Okay,
True.
they might not be monetized in the first go, but having them is like again a channel of communication back and forth. Okay, so just I will just list down the most important ones that you should definitely have. Like first of them being the welcome journey. Now, what does a welcome journey do? It's like in the shop again, welcoming someone with open arms. It is not anything not new. Like it's not new. You just have to write a simple email, okay, probably a 5 liner, 10 liner, telling them what is the brand, what are the ethos, what do you stand by, how do you make money, or if you want to skip that, like what is the team, a simple introduction to the brand, and that can go a long way, because it's like you made a new friend and you would obviously want to introduce, right?
Right, right,
That's it. Like recently for a utility wear brand that we work for, what I did was like what the founder suggested, that we put a simple welcome email, a small 5 liner, 5-10 liner text email with the founder's picture in the email, and just saying that, hey, welcome to our brand, this is all we do and this is how we're expanding and these are categories, and you can reach out to me through this email. Okay, this line telling the customer that, okay, I will get your email and reach out to me. You won't believe 150% that email CTR was 150% of any other CTR in that email. Like if CTR is a click through rate, so
right.
that
That's
particular
a lot.
email was getting, yeah, 150% higher clicks than any other email in that particular welcome flow. even though the CTR was just hidden behind the text. Okay, because people read things that they feel are written by someone, right?
Right.
They would not probably read something that is just out of a book, out of a page of a book. Another thing that this email done was like around 30% of the overall revenue of this particular welcome flow was coming from that particular small email. So
Okay.
that's the point, welcome journey can differentiate you and set the first conversation right in the relationship. The next one that is important is the abandoned journeys, like the abandoned cart, browse abandon, and your checkout abandon. Now, these are very intuitive and really important because these are the people who have the highest intent to buy from you. They
Exactly.
have been on their website, they want to buy, and just lost for various reasons. So reaching out to them, and what has become really important is that now with multi-channel automations being in place, right? Like WhatsApp has now come into abandoned journeys.
Yeah.
Just imagine you were, looking through a website and browsing through, and suppose 3 hours later you get a message on your WhatsApp saying, "Hey, were you looking for something? Do you want to have a second look?" Just imagine the kind of conversions it had. In fact, for one of my clients, in February, 43% of the revenue of the whole abandoned journeys was just coming from WhatsApp. So
Wow.
that is the scale that is at right now. It it was very novel like 3 4 months back. It is still novel, like it's still performing, and I think it's just going to go up from here. So ABC journeys is something that you cannot leave. Have to hold on to the ABC journeys. The third important journey that I think that a brand should have is the post purchase. Now what happens is I think a post purchase is even more important than a purchase reminder, like probably a 90 days purchase reminder or something, because it is telling the customer knows that they are definitely not selling me anything in this email. I've already made an order. So what can they sell me, right?
Right.
They open that message. Firstly, to know about their orders. They think that, it might have details about my order. So they definitely open it. And when you open an email, what happens is it takes the reputation up for my whole email ID domain, right?
Right. True.
Post purchase, yeah. So post purchase journey does that for you. It's and probably you can just write a simple line, right? Thank you for purchasing with us. Or but I recently did it for one of my brands. So what we did was we divided the post purchase message into two. Okay, for people who were buying for the first time, we told them thank you for buying. For people who it was the repeat purchase, we wrote them, hey, you are a star. Thank you for being you, and thank you for trusting it once again. And that is that email had very good open rates. Because telling the people that okay, we recognize that you're a repeat purchaser, and thank you for doing this again for us. So it's like a little goodie bag you get when you step out of a store, or a little McDonald's where you ring that bell. It's like that little delight you add at the end of the thing.
The
So
recognition customer recognizes that you're the recognition customer gets, because that also appreciates him, and he'll definitely come back to the store more because of that, right?
yes, and it is known for sure that it's not going to be a sales email, right? A
Yeah,
post purchase
exactly.
email cannot be a sales email. So obviously the open rates are way higher.
Huh.
Secondly, there's a little extra you can add to this post purchase journey is asking them for their feedback, probably 10 days, 15 days later after the purchase has been made. So what happens is, feedbacks generally by human tendency, we do not tend to give feedbacks till it's positive. Okay, either I'm superbly elated or I'm like really pissed off with the brand. If I'm really pissed off with the brand now, I will go extra lengths to put that feedback at places like on Google, on Facebook, right? If you give the customer a channel to put a feedback where they know that they can write what they want to write, you will be amazed. Like, you will obviously get bad feedback also, but you'll also get good feedback. Both are great for the brand, right? The bad ones obviously help you improve yourself. The good ones, are like the user generated content. Use those reviews, use those feedback for the other emails. Put them on your website, put them in the cart abandoned email you want to send, right? So it's like free content being given after a purchase has already happened. So I think post-purchase journey is also very important. It actually adds up to the whole economics of the website. So
True.
yeah, so these are the three most important ones, like the welcome, the abandoned flows, and the post-purchase one.
Really like your point about UGCs there as well, because we know that user generated content is probably the most important asset in the marketer's bucket today.
Yeah.
If there's one way to get UGC using your post purchase flows, why not?
Yeah, in fact, nowadays websites have these review section. Okay, I personally I would want to go to the review section and see what people have written about the brand, and
Exactly.
I would appreciate someone who has negative reviews also. Like, I would not want the reviews to be moderated, right? And
Right.
once you see the reviews, you understand, okay, this is the brand, that's what they're trying to do. This is what they're not good at. So it's great, having reviews and feedbacks is great.
Agreed, Shani. Nothing better than that, I guess. Matlab, for a new brand as well as a loyal brand, your loyal customers, as you mentioned, if you recognize them, they do come back again. That is what is most valuable there. We'll quickly have another poll, Chandni. So again, I would like your view as well. You can quickly describe that view. So, how many automations flows do you think is right for a business, or how many automations for a business owner in the attendance? How many automations does your business currently use? And Chandni, how many automation should a business use ideally?
Depend on the scale of the brand. Okay, if you're a smaller brand, I think you should be done with 3 or 4. But if you're a big brand which is doing good numbers and good traffic, I think you should go overboard, like 5 or more than 5.
Right.
So my answer in this would be 3 to 5, but you're open to answers from people also.
Yeah, and as you said, it depends on the size of the business. And the
Yeah.
ideal job for marketing automation would be to plug the revenue leakages, right? So identify the revenue leakages, and that comes to be your ideal number of automations that you would need. And I
Yeah.
agree, mine would be more than 5. I am someone who goes for higher number of automations, I believe.
Hmm.
So while we again wait for the results of the poll, anyone on LinkedIn Live and YouTube, please do click on the registration link in description and join us on AirMeet directly to take part in these polls and surveys, and also ask our expert the any questions that you might have regarding marketing automations today. Great, Chani. So you did describe the basic flows of abandoned browsers, abandoned carts, abandoned checkouts, and the welcome and post-purchase flows. Some of the more advanced flows that are available to a bigger brand and to service providers, and how does a business owner decide which of them is like more important?
Yeah. Actually, the poll results are also in. So let's discuss that first.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
I guess 50% is 3 to 5. So yep, 3 to 5 seems to be
That's a sweet spot. Yeah, you can be judicious as well as have the basics in place, and you should be good to go.
yeah.
So coming back to your question, so coming back to advanced flows that a website can have, I think of it as like a salesman. Again, the same salesman analogy. Okay, does the salesman just work around giving the shopping bag in your hand and saying bye bye? No, they don't, right? They suggest you things, they gauge your interest, they see what you are interested in. If you're not interested in what they're showing, they also show you something else, right? Acha, you don't like this, you might probably like this, right? So that is your cross sell automation right there. Cross sell automation is another great thing to have. While your customer is liking something and or you feel that the drop off at that category is much higher, you can probably show them a second category,
Right.
right? That is your cross sell campaign. Another one is your win back campaign. Like your proper favorite salesman might give you a call after 90 days saying, "Hey, you've not dropped in. Is everything okay?" So I remember this particular salesman. Like when I used to shop for my kid, she used to message me that, "Hey, is everything okay? Is she okay? You haven't visited in 90 days or 120 days, whatever." So I think that memory that you have to go back, that reminder, okay. So that is a win back automation. You can set a win back automation after probably a certain time and tell the customers, okay, you should be dropping by. We have new collection. You know, Another thing that a good salesman does at times is also keep in touch. Suppose you have your customers' birthdays. Why not just mail them on their birthday saying, "Hey, happy birthday." You might or might not include a discount code. That is a brand level decision.
Right.
But messaging on them on the special days, that's a purchase anniversary or any kind of anniversary with them. So these are all the flows. You can just have to understand your customer where they might be in the journey and just getting to touch with them. Like it's as simple, just plugging in all the revenue leakages and understanding wherever you can get a chance to talk to that customer. So I think all of those flows can be really important.
Right. I remember birthday automation had one of the highest open rates for us. Birthday automations generally see an open rate of about 70 to 80%. And that is, as you mentioned, a right time to talk with your customer rather than sell something to your customer. Talk
Yeah.
with your customer, give them a birthday discount depending on the brand's values. But yeah, very true that these kind of automations are really like something that everyone should look into.
I'll share a small anecdote. So for one brand, I did a birthday email. Okay, I did not do anything. Like we just wrote happy birthday, and we just put a small. The call to action was just you can sometimes you can have your cake and eat it too. So why not just treat yourself? And the CTA was treat yourself. Okay, no discount code, no shop now. And that CTA, that call to action had a click rate of almost 6 to 7%. Okay, that was not even saying shop now. It was just saying treat yourself, and that CTA had a really good response. So yeah, not selling, but obviously placing yourself somewhere there.
Agreed. So you did touch upon this next question a little earlier as well, and I would like for you to like tell us a little more about it. So text heavy emails and all of these are also coming into the picture. So what do you think is the email itself? What are the best practices that someone should follow, not just from the email content, also
Mhm.
from increasing the deliverability, and also into how many automations, how many emails should each automation have?
ठीक है. Okay, so see, the idea that I like to believe is you should be as personal with the customer as much as you can. Okay,
Right.
not understand, like walk the walk with the customer, understand what they want. Okay, David Ogilvy once said the customer is not a moron, she's your wife, and I think that sums it up for me. You have to respect them, you have to understand what they're going through, where are they in their journey, and understand it from their from their viewpoint. Okay, there are a lot of D2C brands coming nowadays, and what happens is, because the product market fit is not right, or the time is not right, or the product needs a little tweak, or the delivery needs a little tweak. So what happens? Customers give their feedback. Okay, now you have a feedback channel, the customers giving their feedback. So the team somehow starts detesting the customer, which is wrong. You have to love your customer. They gave you the chance to like serve them, right? They chose you from 100 other brands available, so you have to love their customer. And why do I say that? Because that should show in every step you take, the language you choose for your email. If you have set up a mailbox and you're sending an email to them, make sure the reward for that email comes, right? It's a very basic thing. But what happens at times is, we just set up an email for sending the updates, and we forget to put a mailbox only. Now what happens when the customer wants to write an email to you? Okay, and if you have that mailbox, even little replies coming to it, that makes a lot of difference. Sometimes people, just want to ask where's my order, or sometimes they also want to appreciate, hey, I like the idea, right? So it is about respecting the customer, managing your tone like that, and also being ready for whatever replies they want to give you.
Right.
Okay, that is first. The second would be, always testing, like testing and keeping on testing. Now, optimize for everything. Optimize for your subject lines. Keep testing your subject lines. See if putting a first name in the subject line really matters. Putting a smiley matters in subject line or not. Optimize your time delays. Like if the first email is going at 6 hours, should the second one go at 9 hours or 12 hours, right? So optimizing your times, optimizing everything that you could understand. But there's a little something in this I always like to tell everyone, that it's a saying that, if the world would run on A/B tests, the every website would become a porn website, right? Because you're optimizing your conversions. But keeping that aside, there's a funny anecdote on this. So we were working for an FMCG brand, and we had a welcome form live on the website. Okay, it was a good form, good pretty looking form, and we were getting good 5-6% conversion. And but we were capturing email and phone number on it. Okay. Now someone in the team comes and says that, hey, I think this has a friction. Okay. We should not ask for two things in a form. Let's, make it email. So the team was not ready because it was a highly, as it is said, you don't disturb what's working well. You disturb what's not working well, right? But we were like, okay, let's test. So what we did was we did a A/B split on the form, and one form only had the email, and the second one had email and phone number. And we ran it for a month or so. So the results were astonishing. Both the forms had exactly the same conversion rate, which was around 5.2%, I think, which showed us one thing, okay, that had we not tested, we had just lost out on that particular data point. People want to give their phone numbers, they don't mind, right? It is just about, how well do you want to understand them?
Right.
Are you really open to understanding what they want to say, right?
Right.
So that is another thing, like testing. The third thing would be, cleaning up your list. Someone is not responding to your communication, say for 9 days or 9 months or 6 months. You have sent them emails, they're not opening it. You have to clean up that list. You have to remove those people from your list. You can probably send a final email that, hey, we think that you're not responding. Is everything okay? There's a chance that 5-10% might respond to that one, and then you don't clean up those, but the rest you should clean up. There is a chance that these people might come back to you again after a year or so, whenever they are ready or whenever they see you on other platforms. But if you keep sending those emails, no, they are definitely going to block you, right? Because
Yeah.
they're not responding, you're not getting the signal. So cleaning up the list is another thing that you should be doing. The fourth thing is personalizing your communications, and personalizing not just in terms of a message. Subject line personalization and email personalization is very okay, like on the top. Another personalization that should happen is product recommendation personalization. Someone buying a sari should be shown recommendations for a sari. Someone buying an accessory should be shown recommendation for an accessory. You can probably cross sell at a later point in time, but at that point you should not be personalizing everything, whatever you say, how you deal. Okay. The other thing could be, try to gather as much first party data as you can. Include forms, two-step forms, and when once you're done with the forms, then you probably go and go in their email and ask them about their interest. Okay, why not, once, this is one of my personal, experiences. So what we did for one brand was we took the welcome form. Now the team was like, "Hey, welcome form, we cannot be asking for, their experiences, or, why are they here?" So what they said was, okay, let's ask for their interests. So
Right.
what we did was we put a email in the series of welcome form, probably the second or third email, and asked them, "Hey, why are you here? Okay, are you shopping for a wedding? Are you casually shopping? Are you just window shopping?" And what happened was, we got replies on that form, right? So gathering data, like helping customers tell you their data. The another thing that is a good practice is going multi-channel. I think that is what is the most important thing in marketing automation right now, right? Going multi-channel. Why just reach out to anyone just on SMS? Why not reach out on WhatsApp? And why not integrate both actually? Why not start with a WhatsApp and then send an email? Right? So going multi-channel is another thing. And the last, like, very important thing that I always feel is speak with your customers. This is very important. The first thing is setting up a channel of communication with the customers, and secondly, asking them for their reviews and feedbacks. UGC is definitely going to be the king. Content is the king, obviously, but UGC is fast catching up.
A type of content.
Yeah. So you know what, matlab, you people are there, they have used your product. If you ask them for content, like, give us a picture review or give us a text review, okay. Now when you get that review and you put that in your email once again, suppose you're looking at a sock, okay, and you did not buy the sock, but suppose you get a browser abandoned email with three people wearing the same sock. Will
Right.
you not respond to it, right? It becomes the impact of UGC is massive. People have been using UGC right now only, for their Instagram stories or their Facebook stories, but they're still far away from using their UGC in their emails or in their WhatsApp messages. So I think that is another good practice to have. For one of our customers, in fact, we put UGC, like the reviews of their product, in their email.
Right.
That email, like the general, email click-through rates are 4-5%. That particular email with reviews had a click-through rate of around 7 to 8%, almost like 100% higher than the other ones. So that's what reviews do to you. Yeah.
Agreed. And another thing that I would like to remind our viewers here is about segmenting your audience within an automation. I remember I came to you with a problem of not having enough
Mhm.
conversions towards some of the last emails in the flow, and you guided me to segment the audience further on the based on the value of their cart as of that point. And I remember the customers with the extra cart, we were able to figure out that the customers with the lower cart value were the ones actually not converting, the higher cart values ones were converting, and
Yeah.
then that allowed us to develop strategies around that. And again, yeah, as you said, keep revisiting your automations is actually quite important. We'll do.
There's another thing that I would like to add in here. Okay? What happens is, suppose you're sending an email to 10,000 people. Okay, you've not segmented them. The deliverability of that email will be lower than if you send that email to only 2,000 people to whom it was relevant. Now,
Oh,
suppose you get a 5% open rate on 10,000 people. Now, suppose you send that same email to 2,000 people, highly segmented, very relevant. You might end up getting more absolute number of opens on a smaller subset. Eventually, it's all about ROI, right? If you're sending it to a smaller segment, you might eventually get more users than you could have gotten a bigger subset. So that's the idea of segmenting. And it has worked really well for us,
for
sending
sure.
it to smaller chunks. Yeah.
Segmenting your audience, understanding them, basically understanding your audience and supplying the needs that they have come to you for would
Yeah.
definitely work for any D2C store. We'll quickly
Yeah.
take another poll, Chandni. We are
Sure.
a little short on time, so we'll just quickly take this poll up. So again, this would be the number of communications or touch points per channel that a customer should receive from you in a day. Right?
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yep. In a day, in a week. So it is either three times a week, once in a day, or multiple times in a day. This is per channel, Chandni. So we are not talking about when it could be WhatsApp in the same day, a WhatsApp and an email. It is within the same day to email. So I don't think multiple in a day would make a lot of sense. But yeah, your views.
I think there has to be a basic sanity check, like not more than one or two per channel per day. I
Right.
think that is what the sanity check I should be putting. Matlab not one throughout the whole ecosystem, but one or two on a channel in a day. I think that's the sweet spot for me.
Agreed. One or two in a channel in a day, you should not be
Hmm.
exceeding there. And but
Yeah.
yeah, not as little as three times a week as well, I would believe, because three times a week is a little too low in terms of your automation or your communications per day.
Sometimes, it's also about the content. Like, I work with one of this couture brands, like small, boutique store, and obviously do not have content, small audience, 10,000, 15,000 people. You might not even have, content to push around for three times a week, right? Or once a day. So we decided on two times a week, worked well for the brand, they got their ROIs, the customer stayed in touch. So yeah, it's again. Testing. I think testing is important here.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So the results are in as well, and customers, our attendees agree with you of with once in a day. But
They
yeah,
all want to send emails, like not to stay away from emails for sure.
yeah, for sure. Again, so you did just touch upon this that there are multiple new channels also coming up. One of the things that our customers are often asking us, and even I am very concerned about, is spamming our end users, right?
Mhm.
So, what do you think is the right number, and how do you think the quality of communication? How should we monitor the quality of communication in terms of ensuring that customers don't feel spammed?
Okay. This is actually a very fine line and a business level decision as well as a marketer's decision. Okay. I think the differentiator here should be being able to send communications that seem personal. Okay. Chase Diamond, there's this guy who's a very, good email marketing expert. He says that if you would not say that thing in a one-to-one communication, rather don't put it in your message. It's as simple as that. Okay. If there's something you would not say to a friend, don't
Yeah,
put that in your email. And that has made a lot of difference in the way I have, made my communications always, because no one wants to really now read emails written out of a book. They would want to listen to what you have to say.
right,
Okay, firstly, the quality. Speak relevant things, speak that something that you would speak to your friend. Don't say it otherwise. The second thing is capping the frequency. A basic sanity check should always be there on an umbrella level, that okay, any customer should not be receiving more than one or two communications a day on a channel, by the way. So there can be a abandoned cart going on an email and another one going on a WhatsApp. Because I say that because sometimes the customers, respond on one channel but don't on another channel. So
right,
that we have to obviously keep sure that we are reaching them out somewhere. And thirdly, and the frequency is also important, because you are telling the customer that okay, we're not going to spam you. This is a channel of communication with you, and I respect it. You also respect it. So let's build this bridge between ourselves, and let's not burn that bridge. So frequency is really important in that case. Yeah.
agreed, agreed. Again, Chani, the last point here, the last question that I would have for you, and you did because you covered a lot of it in the beginning as well, is the analytics bit, right? So, what are some of the basic numbers that I should keep my eye on for an automation in general, and what are the red flags for that particular metric, right? When should I start worrying and make changes?
Okay. See, some of the key metrics that I like to look on is firstly the open rates. Obviously, they are not that reliable now, but I think a flux of 5-10% has what has impacted my campaigns in the current times. I don't know about the audience, obviously, but 5-10% is what. So I would say open rate of 20% or higher is a good open rate to have. Anything beyond below 15% is
Yeah,
meaning a red flag. Okay, it's either landing in spam, or it's not to the right audience, or you're not putting the right kind of things on the subject line. Okay, so first is the open rates. The second is the click-through rates. Okay, click-through rates is basically your clicks divided by your opens.
got it.
General industry standard for clicks is around 6 to 10%. So I would say anything below 3% of click-through rate can
Right,
be a red flag. Okay, that people did open your emails but did not click it.
right, right.
It
That's
can be just you placed the CTA wrong, or the CTA said something else that it was meant to say. In fact, I will just another thing is average order value. Okay, what happens is sometimes in particular flow we are just trying to put more and more discounts, and that flow might be taking our average order value down than the overall average order value of the business. So
right.
that is wrong, right? The average order value that I'm getting from that flow, do I need to optimize? My CTR might be good but my average order value might be less. Okay, the fourth most important thing that I feel is replies to a message. Are people getting it? The biggest proof of that is, did you get a reply on it? So this is what happened with me once. We were sending emails, and we were thinking we were sending very good emails, but we were not getting any replies. Okay, and then I realized that why we're not getting replies, and that is when we figured out that okay, these emails were landing into spam. And because of these open rates are so haywire right now, because of these Apple changes, it never crossed anyone's eye that okay, it might be happening that they're not being opened by anyone. Okay, so replies to that message can be a good indicator of are the messages right for the audience. And
Right.
fifthly, the most obvious one is revenue. Revenue that is coming out of a flow. So sometimes what happens is you might not even be clocking revenue on that particular automation. So that would mean either the trigger is not set right, or the time is not right, or the channel is not right. So revenue. And once you start clocking revenue from an automation, it is just a game of optimization from there. So I think revenue in general is a good starting point to even test your automation and test its validity. And from there, you can just go ahead. In fact, I'll just share one experience of mine. So for one particular email, we had very high open rates. Okay, so generally this was the standard earlier. Okay, for email marketing, everyone used to see open rates, and they were all happy. Okay, 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 but good open rate. So we were getting 60-70% open rate, but zero click rate, and we were not able to understand what's happening. First, the team said that okay, might be because of Apple and everything, but obviously that was not such a big deal. Then we figured out that okay, when we reviewed the email, the call to action was placed right at the bottom of the email, and we somehow skipped putting link behind the hero image. What we did was a simple testing that we moved the call to action 30% down the email. Like we built two call to actions, and you will not believe, but we eventually started getting 3-4% CTR also on that email. So it's just about understanding the metric, putting it at the right place, and in this whole thing, measuring the performance and everything. What is also important is getting these results and putting them into practice. Sometimes what happens is, everyone starts with these flows or these emails or these WhatsApp messages. What we forget to do is going back and auditing them. Like, everyone should go back and audit their flows or anything in under 15-20 days. That should happen, like weekly, bi-monthly, monthly, however you can do it. Just go and audit them and keep on improvising and optimizing them. That is really important. And I think that is what sets a good and a great automation apart. Something that has just evolved with time. You can set it for once, but also remember to optimize them very regularly.
Very
So
true, Chandni.
yeah,
And
that's
thank
the
you
thing.
so much for that, Chandni. This was my last question that I had for you, and I really appreciate you taking the time. We'll just
Thank you.
take a few questions from our users as well. Really interesting questions coming up there. Thank you so much, guys. So the first one, actually, I really like this as well. So Nida asks, doesn't the automation number depend on the futuristic view of the brand, or is it on the current scale of the brand is at? Right? And I really like this question here. So is it something that you should design with keeping in mind where you are trying to be or where you are at, right?
Uh, Nidha, there's a very simple answer to your question. So basically, I think everything has to be designed keeping in mind who your current customers are. So suppose because your ads can probably, go ahead and think of the future that okay, I want to target these kind of customers. But the current automation should only depend on the kind of customers you have, okay, the kind of orders they are placing, or and that you can only understand by getting first quality data, right? You should be knowing which customer to get, and you should be knowing who has bought from you, and then you should be targeting accordingly.
Makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Another question, in terms of the channels, that question, the in extension to the channels conversation that we were having. So Nira asks, one or two channels, one communication in a day. So different channel, should you have the same message and same audience in a different channel, right? So what are the one option being the different channel, you'll have same message, right? Yeah, WhatsApp, emails, all having the same message, or the audience being same but the channels being different.
The audience obviously has to be the same, because suppose you're doing a cart abandon or a checkout abandon. Okay, the audience is essentially the same, but you can play with the way the messages are displayed. An SMS for a cart abandon can probably just say, "Oh, your payment is incomplete," but your email would rather say, "Hey, see how many people tried that stock," right? So the communication can be different. It should be complementing each other. The WhatsApp message in this case could say, just rush because these people have already bought their socks and used it. You might lose out. It's a high seller. So, and in case of campaigns, I'm assuming that Nida also asked this question for campaigns, like, a discount or something. In that case, Nida, I think you will have to understand, some people's phone numbers you don't have, and some are the ones who have high click open rates on email. So, yeah, different audiences for different channels in that case.
Perfect. The next question that I had, it's also being displayed on this one. So from Nida itself, retention and source of the lead. So what's the best practice to nurture and build automations for them?
Okay. So basically, Nida, what I feel is when you start with nurturing, I think you should be starting with a simple welcome, okay, and understanding the customer, simple small journeys, okay, and also complementing that with your remarketing ads if you can, okay. We do not know remarketing ad will perform or not, but having, as I started the session also, I said, okay, that everything should go hand in hand. It's your brand, it's your story, right? And when you're nurturing them on your retention platform, it can be through various channels, but again, understanding the customer, understanding their needs, and nurturing them accordingly. A brand level decision for me.
Perfect. Again, another really good question with respect to the Indian market from Shilpi asks, what is the best marketing automation channel working best for the Indian market? And could you also answer the same for the global market, for our global audience in attendance today?
Yeah. Yeah. So for the Indian market right now, Shilpi, I think the best channel for me, hands down, has to be WhatsApp. It is very expensive, like it's 10 times more expensive than an SMS message, but the ROIs are immense. Like I myself have seen 20-25x ROI, and it's a multimedia message, right? You can put an image and a text, and there is no character limit. It's like you go all in. It's great. For the international audience, I think emails still remain the favorite. Okay,
Agree.
if nurtured properly, if used in the right respectful manner, I've seen emails give 18 to 20x ROI easily. Okay, they always work, provided you respect the channel, you send good communication, personalize it. Email has to be the favorite. WhatsApp, I have a feeling that WhatsApp will get flooded in a few years. Let us see how that goes, but yeah.
I agree completely on the international market as well.
Mhm.
Sanity check becomes even more important for the international market because do remember that more and more customers internationally open in the international market open the emails as compared to the Indian market.
Yeah,
And with WhatsApp, Chandni, I was noticing that also the conversations have come into the picture now, right? WhatsApp
yeah,
conversations is again
yes.
another beautiful channel that has that WhatsApp has brought.
Exactly. It's like a one-to-one chat with your friend, and everyone in our society is so used to using WhatsApp. There's no stopping us. Right.
Agreed. I'll also like to put this. Okay, let's take up one more question. But we also
Mhm.
had the same poll for our users. We'll take that up later. That which is
Yeah.
their preferred channel. We'll just take it up after this one.
Mhm.
So, how much has marketing automation replaced marketers? Wow, a really good question. Thank you, Ajay.
I would say that it has not replaced marketers. Like I have not seen marketers being replaced. I think it has in fact created more marketing jobs because you need content at every point of the step. Yeah, you need more communication. Earlier, when we just used to have emails, how many emails were you designing? Now that there are multi-channels, you want analysts for making your audiences. You want people to manage your marketing automation platforms. You need designers. You need copywriters. Because the channels have increased manifold and the journeys have become so interesting, I think it has just created more jobs. It has not replaced for sure.
Agreed, yeah. At one of the bigger brands, I noticed that two different people were running the marketing automations, and a different person
100%.
was running the campaigns. So they had
Yeah.
someone else running the campaigns, doing the segmentation of the audience, and running the campaigns, while someone else was designing and optimizing the campaigns,
Yeah.
doing automation for the regular ones. So agreed. I don't think they have replaced. In fact, they have optimized marketers.
Yeah.
Is a better way to put it.
Made their life easier, that's it.
Made their life easier for sure. Yeah. So again, I'll take this poll now. Okay, Nikhil is asking another question.
Yeah.
A desirable revenue percentage you should aim for from repeat customers. Oh, again, a pretty good question.
That's a very good question. Okay, so this is a recent Shopify poll. Okay, a website that has just started, probably 3 months, 4 months in business, can do anything from 10 to 20% from repeat customers. Any website that is getting more than 10 orders a day should ideally have 30 to 50% of their revenues coming from repeat customers, and that is just for a website having 10 orders a day. If you go up to 100 orders a day, you should rather have your 50 to 60% revenue coming from your repeat customers. That is Shopify benchmark, by the way. So has to be true.
True, true. And depending on the industry as well, I believe in the cosmetic industry, I remember about 60% of the customers were repeat customers for most of our clients. So
Yeah.
depending on the industry as well, Nikhil, that would depend. Apparel industry has a really low retention,
Hmm.
repeat customer, repeat purchase numbers, but something like a cosmetic or
Hmm.
some nutritional supplements, these have a really high
Yeah.
repeat purchase percentage. I'm really excited to. Okay, another question that has been come up: which are the best ready automation tools?
All our best automation tools. Are you, Manoj, asking about automation like softwares? Yeah, I
I
could be.
think it's a little confusing. The best
But
ready.
I would say the best in market right now is Contlo because I am the VP of Contlo. But yes, yeah, there are many. But right now in this point in time, you should be choosing a tool which can give you all the channels at one place. I think that's what you should be targeting. You should not be looking at sending emails from one place and sending SMSs from another and sending your WhatsApp from the third place. Okay, try to, because you want to make your life easier and your customer's journey easier, try to have a tool that can get everything in one place. A multi-channel tool is the one that you should be looking at.
And what that also is an advantage is you don't have to bother your customers on every channel, right? You can design the automations in a way that
A
only the
smoother
WhatsApp
user journey, basically. Yeah, a
will
smoother
learn and
journey.
only customers.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we answered that question for you, Manoj. Again, the next question coming in from Ajay, is there any software or server for triggering automated birthday greetings, anniversary events, which help us consolidate the data by triggering events and start pulling data so that we can send personalized emails?
Okay, so Ajay, this is what a marketing automation tool does. Okay, you firstly from a form take their birthdays. Okay, then because your tool, like we have that functionality in Contlo as well, and I'm sure other tools might have it. Okay, you take their birthdays and set the trigger as the birthday for sending the automation in that sequence. So that automation essentially starts when the anniversary of the date comes. Now that date can be anything, a birthday or anniversary or something, and then you just continue the journey. So that's how a marketing automation tool works. That your data is right there. You just decide when does your message trigger. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much,
Mhm.
Chandni.
Yeah.
If we can conduct the poll now, that will be a great one. But okay, Akshay Rathore has another question. So, how much of a difference does having a mobile application make? Does it open new avenues when compared to having just a website? I believe it's in terms of having.
Yeah. Great question, Akshay. I think mobile website is really important because 95%, 98%, 90% of, like generally 92 to 98% of any website or traffic is from mobiles. It is important to have a mobile, but it is not a showstopper. Okay, have a mobile optimized website. Okay, we can send push notifications through a mobile optimized website also. A app can send a push, but a mobile optimized website can send a push notification, right? It is just about being responsive on the mobile. That is what I think is important. A mobile app is there obviously, but in the app you always have that problem of people uninstalling it. So I think that is very volatile, people installing, uninstalling. I personally have never looked into the economics of it, so I will not comment on the economics. But for, I think, as a marketer, having a mobile optimized website or a mobile app is definitely helpful, like, has to be there.
Okay, Chandni, just extending on this question, could you also point us a little in direction of how should we optimize our emails for mobile, for example? That would be very relevant for marketing automations as well.
Yeah.
Optimizing our emails for mobile, we can just quickly, we don't have much time, but take a couple of minutes and touch upon that too.
Okay, so there are quick pointers, optimizing for mobile, not having heavy images,
Right.
not having single image emails. So this is something that we did not discuss, right? Not having single image emails. It's a crime. It's going to go into promotions or spam for sure. Okay. Not having bigger images, having, assuming that a customer will scroll 3 or 4 times. So having a combination of text and image, not just having images everywhere. Okay. Using fonts that you think will generally be available on the mobile libraries or on the desktop libraries is another point. So all of these things, I think they make all the difference.
Thank you so much, Chandni.
Yeah.
We'll quickly post the poll that I was looking to post for a long time. But yeah, so which is the preferred or your favorite channel of communicating with your customers? Uh, Chandni, you can quickly guide us a little on each of them or give us your preferred answer.
Uh, okay, as I told, like different scenarios, but right now it has to be WhatsApp. Undoubtedly, WhatsApp for me.
For me, again, emails by themselves, as you mentioned, are the evergreen channel for a digital marketer. SMS have become one of the important channels for, especially for abandoned journey emails. Push notifications, since most of the users in India do give the consent to get push notifications. That is one of the numbers that I was seeing for one of my clients, that there was about a 10% subscription to push ratio. So push notifications again is a pretty
It's
important channel.
actually, it's good because also it's absolutely free, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Again,
don't pay for it. So
we don't have to worry
there's
about our. That's very true.
yeah.
And postcard or physical mail. I believe during the pandemic by itself, there were a lot more people receive. One of the brands in the US tried to send postcards to their customers for Black Friday sales, which had
Mhm.
some of their greatest numbers across the last 5 or 6 years on their Black Fridays. So yeah,
Yeah.
keep exploring new channels is one
Yeah.
of the things that I always have for my customers.
And the results are in.
Yep.
So it's a
Pretty
team.
emails
It's a
are,
target. Yeah.
but it is a pretty focused market sample size as well. Since most of us have been hearing about emails so much from you in the last 1 hour, we have been swayed towards emails.
True. So true.
I think that's it from us. If the users do not have any more questions, it's time as well. We'll quickly
Yeah.
wrap up this session.